Hello, everyone. This is Eladio González, Editor-in-Chief at Forbes, and it's a great pleasure to be with all of you today. Nowadays, we hear a lot about virtual reality, augmented reality, but what do we know about the impact that these technologies can have on our society? Actually, do we really know what virtual reality and augmented reality are? This is the topic we're going to discuss today with our guests that I would like to introduce you now. We are here today with Roberto González, Chief Metaverse Officer and Founder at Colonizers NFT. Hello, Roberto, how are you?
Hi, Eladio. It's a pleasure for me to be here.
We are also here with Camilo Montañez, which is Business Development Manager at 3Go. Hello, Camilo, how are you?
Hello, Eladio. How are you? It's a pleasure to be here and enjoy with us.
Thank you. And it's also with us Nelly Tacheva, General Member Board at Metaverse Standards Forum. Hello, Nelly. How are you?
Hi, Eladio. Thank you for having me.
Thank you all to be here today to discuss this very, very interesting and strategic topic for all of us. And I would like to start knowing what are actually the main differences between VR and augmented reality, AR, because I think there can be a bit of a confusion for people that are not very familiarized as you are with this technology. So who wants to explain us what are these technologies about?
I would like to maybe start, but I think that Nelly have the word. So please, Nelly, you start, and I next to you.
I was just about to say that the virtual reality is completely simulated different world, while the augmented is taking what is around us and kind of augmenting it with some additional elements. Go ahead, Camilo, and expand on that.
Wonderful. I take this because, as you know, the virtual reality is the next word, and the only thing that I would like to add is the virtual reality combined, I think, two good elements. The first one is the real world, and the second one is the virtual world. So we can simulate experience in the real world with real things. For example, imagine that you sell a house. You can record your house with different kind of 360 cams, and you can build this house around the world. That is a real perspective of that. But if that house that doesn't exist, it's a new project in our minds, we can modeling this in a computer version, and we can share this with the world, and we can world and move around of this kind of experience, and it's really interesting.
Roberto, would you like to add something to that explanation?
Yeah, in addition to that, so augmented reality means that you need the technology will augment your sense with something else. So this is not only including the images that we can project or see, it also includes the haptic technology that allows us to feel or sense other ways. That is also part of the augmented reality.
Mm-hmm. And then there is a third option that is called the mixed reality, which is, as the word says, a mixture between one and the other. But can you explain the different applications that these technologies have? Because for people that are not experts, they could seem a bit of the same in terms of applications. So what are they good for? And the difference between these applications?
I would like to start with this one. Basically, when we talk about mixed reality, we are saying that the computer or the device that we are using understand the environment and help us to project those images or objects that we want to render. Understanding, for example, the surface, where is a wall, where is a plane surface, horizontally, vertically, and help us to project and have this feel that the technology understands the space and we can put things in the place that we want. When we talk about the plain augmented reality, the things just exist over there floating, right? Without mixed reality, we can it can interact with the environment or with the place where you are sitting or using it.
Mm-hmm. And what does your companies exactly do in this virtual world? What does Colonizers, Rigo, Tangra do exactly? What are you specializing on? Nelly, let's start with you.
All right, thank you. We are building the office of the future. This is a virtual workspace, and we envision the full convergence between the physical and the virtual world to happen sooner rather than later. So, what we are building is preparing basically companies to have that option to have their virtual workspace. And we've been innovating in the area so that we can make working remotely a true, engaging, and seamless, and efficient and fun experience for people.
Mm-hmm. How different it will be from what we already seen since 2020, where remote work became like a mainstream reality, and it kind of worked. But what is the evolution of what we already lived in terms of distancing work and virtual offices exactly, Nelly?
A great question. Thank you, Eladio. So the pandemic happened and we were not ready for that. So we resorted to using the tools as they existed. And the way they had been built, they were never intended to completely replace the in-person interaction, right? They were just a temporary replacement. Maybe if we were stuck in traffic, or maybe if we were, at home, working from home one day in the month for whatever reason. So all those video conferencing communication tools, they were not actually supposed to be used in the way that we started using them because we didn't have anything else. And that's what we are trying to change now. We are trying to build the tools for the virtual first, for the completely remote workforce. And how that differs, there is a very simple example which I can give. Our species, Homo sapiens, has evolved for millions of years in a 3D environment. And now, in the last 30 years or so, we've been stuck with 2D flat technology. So for us, it's much more natural to operate in a 3D world. And that's what makes it, that's what brings the most excitement, in my opinion, because we have learned through the evolution to orient ourselves, to move through the 3D world. And that's kind of natural. And that's much, much, much engaging for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, engagement is a key word here. Obviously, we can adapt, and we've seen that since 2020 to almost anything. But it's interesting to know that, yeah, there is an evolution that means to be really in that space, in that virtual space, in a different dimension that we used to be. What about colonizers, Roberto? Tell us a bit about your company and the applications that you are developing.
Yeah, Eladio. So basically, we are a company that is trying to create transmedia experiences to the customers. So we are working currently in a project that is really broad because we start this thinking on we want to design a game on a metaverse where the people can go and understand history of Costa Rica and several things regarding to that. But then we start understanding that the topic was so broad that it can be covered on a single experience in a game. So we start thinking on a transmedia experience where we want to start podcasting that, or we're trying to start writing a book about the history that is behind the game. So basically what we want is to create experience for the people that can enjoy, even if they are with their headset, with their VR, if they are in the car, they can still feel all the things that we are creating for them. It will be a whole experience. If you are a reader, you will be there with us. If you are a podcaster, you will be with us. And if you are a gamer, you will be with us. So that is what we want to build. So we are working hard. We have several months since we start. We have writers, we have creators, we have a lot of people that is engaged with the project, because everybody believes that it can be a really good thing. And we really want to create experience that are meaningful for the people, and also help us help people to learn things about Costa Rica. That is what we are looking.
That's very interesting, because gaming is at the very base, I think, of all this virtual reality and augmented reality, or at least the use we've seen more often until now, and for people that are not gamers, it's maybe a difficult shift, in their minds, to see that this virtual reality is also for them, and that they can experience things like work, for example, work meetings, or whatever we can do at work, or also reading books, or having experiences related to the history or the culture of a place. For not gamers, I think this is something that it's maybe kind of a challenge to introduce the non-gamers to this kind of experiences. Is that true? Is that what you see?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've been talking with so many people, and this is maybe one of the most major misconception about this new technology. It is only for gaming, for entertainment. It's only for kids. It's not for serious business. So yeah, we've been dealing with, talking with people, educating them, and explaining and showing them all the business opportunities in the space.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And even that, basically, we're saying that, but most of these kids that born not natively playing games in immersive technologies, they are going to be the people who will sustain the companies in the future, right? So these kids that now have 12 years old to 17 that don't have an income because they don't have work, in a couple of years will become the target of these companies, right? They will be the primary fund of money for this company. So it's important to have them on board and try to bring the people that it's outside that culture to the technology.
Mm-hmm. Camilo, tell us a little bit about 3Go and your applications and your work.
Okay, thank you, Dario. Actually, we are in 3Go Video. We are helping to the companies and the business to immerse in the metaverse, because as we know it, metaverse have like the involved of these technologies, virtual reality, augmented reality, and blockchain and so on. And 3Go Video helps to the company to set up the initial strategies and the initial step to going up to this kind of new trend that we call metaverse. And it's really important because nowadays the companies search for that customers that we are talking about in the conversation, the new customer, the new persons that are enjoying in the evolution of the internet. No, so there is a really good opportunity for us as a company, and we create different kinds of projects. For example, one of the best important or the most important for us is the work that we work with Mitsubishi Motors, and it's in that project we create a simulation when you can enjoy it and you can start to touch different kind of cars of the brand, and you can customize. And for example, you can walk, because when you put your glasses you can walk and you can create that cars looking for different kind of new perspective, and this is so interesting for them. And this project in this moment is actually you can see in different kind of showrooms here in, for example, in Colombia, in the main cities, and also in Brazil and Japan. this is the kind of setting, or this is the kind of products that we made for our customers.
Well, again, I will say that we are used to be present in a place, to touch things in reality, to see things with our own eyes. So I think that trust it's a very important thing that you need to gain in order to make this technology progress. Is people nowadays able to buy a car or to feel the experience of a new model of a car by this technology?
Sure. Actually, the customers in this moment are sell products in that way because it's more easy for the company. Imagine that situation. In which way you can move a lot of cards from one point to other point. Is so difficult to do this, but with this experience you only go with your glasses and with the VR experience, and you can enjoy in a new world. You can well expand your boundaries, and so this is so important because not only is like a cheap way to travel with your products, because it's only other way to show different kind of product to our customers in other ways than maybe never before you can do it. So this is really useful for the brand, and also it's really immersive for the customers. Nowadays the brand are investment more in that kind of glasses, and maybe close different kind of real place, because it's a more relevant way for them. It's cheaper way to show their products.
Yeah, and imagine over there, Eladio, for example, if you are in a place where a lot of people are trying to sell you cars, and somebody come up with an experience where you can see the car, but you can put on your glasses and see, for example, how this car perform in a rally, how it perform in a swamp, right? How it perform in heavy rain, and you can have an experience. You can feel more used to, or more attracted to buy these things, right? Because you can understand not how to see and how you can touch it. You can feel experiences that you live basically inside the car, but you live it through the 3D glasses.
Exactly. We heard about this virtual reality and augmented reality for a while already, and I have the feeling that it hasn't exploded yet. Do you think that this can happen anytime soon? That this is the moment for virtual reality and augmented reality to become more mainstream? Because we've seen some companies obviously being the pioneers and taking risks, but some of them have failed. So what stage do you feel we are now?
Can I start?
Sure.
If we never fail, we would never have learned to walk. So
Yeah,
failure
exactly.
is part of the journey,
Part of the
and
game.
many of us will be experimenting and starting over or pivoting completely, and that's absolutely part of the game. So we need quite a good internet connection, and for that obviously a huge hope is put on the 5G. As you are well aware, we need reliable bandwidth, low latency. So these are kind of, from the technology standpoint, things which we need for this new technology to be adopted. And also, I believe that a huge barrier at the moment are the VR glasses or goggles or headsets. For some people, they're quite cumbersome and kind of they don't feel well kind of wearing them for a long period of times. They're heavy, and let's face it, they're quite expensive for the biggest part of the world. Actually, they are right now quite impossible to even think about purchasing them. I cannot wait. There are so many tech giants and small startups and anything in between working on solving all these issues. So I cannot wait to put on something like my glasses and to be fully immersed in this extended reality.
Camilo, Roberto, would you like to add something? When do you think this is going to be the time for virtual reality and augmented reality?
I think I know I am in this business around 40 years ago, and I think this kind of technology is not new properly because these kind of technologies are evolving around 14, 50 years ago. In the 80s, we have technologies like Cube that is like a room when you enter and simulate different kind of scenarios. But nowadays, I think that is the moment, no? For I don't know what do you think, Nelly and Roberto, but I think that now is the moment because the people are using more this kind of technologies. Also, Meta are help us to growing up the market with the goggles, with the Meta, with the Oculus Quest glasses. That is so interesting because the market need this kind of investment for the big companies and help us to show different kind of contents. For me, the moment is right for I think that is like the third wave of these kind of technologies. And for me, I believe this is the moment, no? And actually, I think this moment is moved to the metaverse to help up to growing up these kind of technologies also too.
Yeah, I think the investors are there and they are willing to invest in companies. I think that is what is making the technology to grow up so fast. Basically, they are in a mode where they see this really close, so they want to invest in how to shape the future, basically, right? So even when the technology was there, it looks so far when it will be ready for be productive, right? So now the people is seeing that it's useful, that they can create real business scenarios over there. So the people is willing to invest, and that's helped the technology to grow really, really fast.
Well, thank you very much. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nelly.
I think it was Forbes where I read something around the lines that the XR technologies will be one of the most transformative tech trends of the next 5 years.
Okay, we will need another panel then to talk about this technology. But for now, we need to stop. Our time is over for this panel. So I thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and your thoughts about the future of this technology. Thank you very much, Nelly, Tacheva, Roberto González, y Camilo Montañez. It's been a pleasure for me as well to be with all of you today. I'm Eladio González, Editor-in-Chief of Forbes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.